Welcome to the Adventure Mechanics. I'm Chandler,
I'm Devin.
And I'm Tom.
and today we'll be talking about Donut County, the game about using a hole to suck up the world?
Sure.
Sure.
I don't
Pick
know
up
how else
trash.
to describe that.
All kinds of junk.
It's like hungry hippos, but the hole moves.
I think if it had a box, that's what it would be on the box.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
Hungry Hippo, but the hole moves. So, for those that don't know, Donut County is a puzzle game about trying to eat up all of these little scenes around town where you're trying to basically consume everything for points in an in-app game, like in-game app. Oh, how do you describe that? Like, okay.
Well, and technically speaking, you're actually, if you follow the way that the language of the game uses, you're actually delivering donuts, except the donut is a hole in the ground.
You're delivering the whole of the donut, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, you use an app on your phone, which that part never really, it doesn't really get explained. But you're using an app on your phone to like move this little hole around on the ground, this hole in the ground, and things fall into it, and every time something falls into it, the hole gets bigger. So you can consume bigger and bigger things.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe it.
That's
It's like reverse Katamari Damacy.
Yeah, that's a really good way to describe it.
I don't know. I'm still attached to the hungry hippos, but the whole moves.
The hungry hippos is a good analogy.
It's hungry hippos in reverse.
That's fair.
The stuff stays the same or stays still, and the hole moves.
Yeah. Well, anyway, that's kind of the core of the game. It was released in 2018 to most platforms. It was developed by a guy named Ben Esposito. He was a solo developer, so this is the most indie of indie games we could possibly cover. And he basically started this out as a game concept coming from a parody game jam event where people were coming up with ideas from another developer, Peter Molyneux, and he just like threw out a whole bunch of ideas and people came up with games for this jam based on that. Hint, extra indie cred. Started out as a jam game. Just saying.
But wasn't it from a parody account? It wasn't actually Peter Molyneux, but it was like a parody account of his. Isn't that what it was?
You're probably right. It's been a while since I've read the info on
I
it.
think I want to say that it was a Peter Molyneux parody account that was putting out the ideas for this game jam.
Yeah, you're right. Sorry about that. I got it backwards. That's what editing's for.
Except that now you're not going to edit that out.
Yeah, well, future Chandler, you're welcome. But yeah, so it started out as a game jam, and by the end of the jam, he came up with this idea, and that was basically the game from there about a raccoon delivering donuts around town.
Which is
L.A.?
incredibly funny. It's very charming.
Yes, it's a very sweet game, very lighthearted. But yeah, so that's kind of the core of the game. Did we want to kind of go over the story?
Sure. So Donut County it's set in a sort of like pastel sort of fantasy version of LA. And as mentioned, when you play, you're playing as technically BK, who is a raccoon. And he plays this game on his phone and collects points. And the conceit, as was mentioned, is that delivering donuts, except the donut is actually a big hole in the ground that you'd swallow up things. And BK has a friend named Mira, who's human, and questions him about what's going on, and he says he's delivering donuts. And eventually she figures out, after a bunch of their friends have been swallowed up from the ground, into the ground rather, by this hole, she figures out that BK's doing something, and that he has been eating up everything in town so that he could afford this quadcopter. And she breaks the quadcopter and then makes it so that they are also swallowed up. And so everyone's just kind of hanging around in the ground, underground, And this is
Because
where
everything falls into like this chasm, so they're all kind of just like camping in this
Yeah.
little chasm.
Hollow Earth. Hollow Earth. It's,
Yes.
it's a Hollow Earth.
Yes, it's definitely a Hollow Earth in this world.
Definitely. So as BK doesn't want to admit that he's done anything wrong, he thinks he's done just fine. And you find out that this whole app and plan and things was devised by the Raccoon King, who wanted to gather up all of the trash that they could possibly have, not giving a flying anything about who gets swallowed, what happens, where it all goes. It's fine. So Mira and BK end up going back to the surface to stop the Raccoon King, and there's a moment where the Raccoon King offers BK such a lucrative reward if he turns against Mira and joins the dark side. But BK refuses, and they defeat the Raccoon King, and BK agrees to help everyone come back to the surface and basically fix everything that he broke by swallowing things with the donut, which is the hole in the ground.
Yeah.
And the story is told in a non-linear fashion. Like, you get these pieces of the story, from underground as you find out what happened to certain people as you kind of go along, which is kind of neat.
Yeah, basically they're all kind of sitting around a campfire trying to figure out what on earth happened, and the story kind of is developing as these people who have been swallowed up by these holes are telling what their each individual stories are. And so you'll get like some dialogue, and then it'll break away, and you'll play the part of the story, and then it'll go back to the cavern, and you'll get to the next piece. It's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty neat. Like, the most linear part is like the last third of the game where Mira and BK go back to the surface.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it kind of has a in media res sort of thing going on.
Yeah, a bit. It's a bit in medias res, and then you like chunks of the story are told in flashback, or rather, it's sort of like the character is telling what happened to them, but it's in the form of a flashback that you're actually playing, and then it goes back to the present.
Yeah, kind of a weird way to tell the story, but yeah, that's pretty much the core of the story.
Yeah.
Yep, it's pretty simple. It's not complicated. Mira and BK, they talk to each other over text messaging, which is kind of neat. You can quack at each other.
Yeah.
That is my favorite thing. Like, just sending spams of quacks in the middle of a conversation.
Can you imagine if that was a
Isn't
thing?
it, though?
Yeah, it's basically, it's almost like sending a thumbs up. The only emoticon you get is just a little duck, and
it quacks. It goes, whack.
And it quacks. Yeah, and you send quacks, and then they'll send a quack back, and then you'll send quacks, and they'll send a quack back. And I don't know if you guys led that to its inevitable conclusion, did you?
No.
I did it a couple times, but I didn't.
I did it a few times, and then I was like, I'm playing the game now.
Yeah.
What happens if you quack so much?
I'm trying to remember. So, just so happens that I'm in Mira's house right now. I may or may not have the game pulled up in my background as
Well,
we're
that's
recording.
not a big fucking surprise.
So I could do it real quick, and we can find out. We'll continue talking, and then once I get to that point, I will let you know, because I can't remember.
Oh, jeez, look at you getting all prepared there.
Oh boy.
I'm so prepared. I really am.
Oh boy, so prepared.
Yeah.
For listeners' edification, like, we actually had to take a break from recording, and so we all played this game a while ago.
It's true. Long enough ago that I've sort of forgotten some things.
So we've all found as we sat down that, oh wait, we should have refreshed a little bit more than we did.
Indeed.
Yeah, that's not a lie.
I'll say this, and this will probably tell people all that they need to know. There have been some things that have happened in the world while we're recording this that have caused this game to fall slightly lower on our radar than it would normally be. So
Yeah.
our memories may not be as fresh as normal.
Yeah, world events have gotten a little crazy, so.
Yeah.
But-
Yeah.
That being said,
Probably all we need to say about that, but yeah.
yeah. That being said, I feel like Donut County is almost perfect in a time like this, especially considering how it's a lightweight game where failure isn't really a thing. Like, there are failure states in this game, but when you look at the game itself, the cost of failing is so low. You just hit reset world or reset room, I think is how it's described. That's
Yeah.
that's an
I think that's right.
incredibly low barrier. Let's be
Yeah.
honest.
Even-
And
It's
I
really
don't even know if I ever did that way. It's not difficult. It's not a
Yeah.
hard game. It's a feel good game.
yeah.
Yeah, it's sweet, it's simple, and it's just kind of fun. It's there's something like satisfying about just moving the hole around the ground and swallowing things up and just watching the hole get bigger as you swallow bigger and bigger things, and then like you just, okay, my hole's big enough, I'll just put it underneath this person's house and the whole house will fall straight down, and it's really satisfying.
Yeah. And, you know, it also has like mild undercurrents of being against capitalism because you're just wrecking everything.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it does.
I
For what? For points in an app? You're just an asshole raccoon.
it's an interestingly like anti-capitalist game. Like
Yeah, it's a very sweet game about it. Like, even with us saying it's anti-capitalist, there's nothing in here that's like, oh, this is really anti-capitalist. Like, yes, comrade, let's do this. No, it's nothing like
Yeah.
that.
no, it's like you play the game and you kind of read into it and you go, huh.
And that's about
Yep.
it.
It mostly, and by the anti-capitalist thing, really what it is it's just kind of poking light fun at capitalism. It's not trying to push a political agenda or anything. So for any of those of you that are worried about that, don't be. It is totally innocuous.
Yeah.
So
Unless you're offended by raccoons, then this will be the most offensive game you could possibly play.
Yeah, and
Or-
if you're afraid of raccoons, then I don't even know what to tell you.
I think I remembered what it is. I think that if you continue, I forget exactly how many. I think if you do like 100 ducks, you get an achievement for it in the game. It unlocks a little.
Oh.
I forget what it is.
Oh, that's
But
ridiculous.
yeah, I think that's what it is.
That is ridiculous. Why would you do
Uh-huh.
that?
There's lots. That is one thing that we should bring up about this game. There's a lot of Easter eggs in it. It's a simple game, but if you poke around in the worlds, there are little areas of complication where you can add a little bit of flavor, and they do that all the time, and it's really cool.
Well, okay, so on that point, let's kind of put some game developer hat on. What's the core of this gameplay loop? Like, you go around, you get stuff into the hole gets slightly bigger, and each time it gets slightly bigger, it allows you to engulf larger objects into the hole, and that's all the loop is. Like, without Easter eggs and a lighthearted story and all the extra effort that's put into the Trashopedia, this would be a really boring game. Like, I'll be honest, it's satisfying for what it is, but the core loop is incredibly weak.
It is. This game is small enough and tidy enough to. It would probably work in a browser.
Yeah,
The game mechanics are not what draw you in, other than the fact that there is something weirdly satisfying about opening up a hole in the earth and allowing things to fall into it. So that part is fun, but you're right. Yeah, there's not there's not a lot of depth to that. Oh,
oh, oh, that was
apologies.
weak sauce. Some of the best parts about it is just sitting down and enjoying the whole. Like,
Yep.
okay, that could be taken out of context.
Wow. Yeah.
But,
Phrasing.
yeah, right? Oh my god. But yeah, like, it is just enjoyable taking this hole around the room. They're not technically like full rooms, but they're little intimate scenes. Yeah, we'll call it a scene.
Yeah.
Where you see somebody's house and they're doing something because, you know, this is their story of how they got into the hole. And you're just flying this donut around or dragging the donut. I struggle to think of how you move this donut.
Dragging.
Dragging?
Well, because it's on a phone app, so you've got you imagine he's just moving his finger around, dragging his finger around the screen.
Oh, his little raccoony finger.
His little raccoony finger, just dragging it around the screen.
Okay, that's a lot less pleasant when I put raccoony finger on it. Oh.
phrasing.
Yeah. Oof. Yeah, this is going to have an NSFW tag all over it, and not just because of our cursing. But yeah, you're just dragging the donut around the scene, and just things fall into it. And that's, as Devin said, very refreshing. There is a victory state and an end state, so it is a game, but it's not a deep game. You're not going to play this for 40 hours nonstop just to really get into the story, because there's not a whole lot of story there.
If you play it all the way to its conclusion, I forget exactly how many hours it takes. It's very little. It's a very brief game. It's meant the impression I kind of get from it is you're not meant to be playing it a lot, but it is the kind of game that you could go back to, because like I said, there's a lot of little Easter eggs that you can find, and like Chandler said, it's just kind of satisfying for some reason. It's one of those games that you just makes you feel good, and it's kind of weirdly fun in like a hard to determine kind of way. I swear, if they just made a version of this game where it was just a whole bunch of stuff and a hole, and you could just infinitely swallow stuff, that would be really fun. I was kind of hoping that at the end of this, that would be the logical conclusion, that the hole would just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger until, like, I don't know, it swallowed the world or something.
Yeah. Okay, so I don't think that it would be enough of a game to be to grow to like world size, because it is a story in a hole dragging game. Like, right. That's the entire point of it, right?
Oh, absolutely. I'm just saying that the mechanic of it, while it isn't complicated, is fun. Even though there's not a challenge, really, to it. Not to say that there aren't challenges in the game, because there's actually some puzzle aspects and a few things that will add some challenge to it. But like the main core mechanic of the game is very simple. But there's something about it that is just kind of enjoyable, to the point where I could imagine a game where it's just something fun to, dork around with no real point. They've gone a lot further than that, in the regard that they've added a story, and they've added puzzle games to it, and they've added characters and all of these like little interesting tidbits, and the Trashopedia, which I don't think we've explained yet.
Yeah, we haven't touched that.
I love the Trashopedia.
We've brought it up. We haven't explained it. Maybe we should, so people know what they're talking about.
Explain it. What's the Trashopedia, Tom?
So...
Or
yeah,
Devin.
Tell us about the Trashopedia.
So each item that falls into the hole gets entered into the Trashopedia, which is this thing that it's an encyclopedia, essentially, you can go to and look at. And each item, you can look at it again, and it gives you a little description at the bottom of what it is. But the descriptions are fantastic, because it's very clear that the descriptions are being written by the raccoons.
Yep.
So these things are not always, their descriptions are not always very logical. I'm actually in the Trashopedia right now, and
same. The snake, a live spaghetti, cool snake, a live spaghetti with the ability to hate. Snake cage, snakes go to die here.
Yeah.
This one's one of my favorite ones. Lab bunny, small, a hardened criminal with a little bit of shame.
Popcorn,
what?
Corn that was punished. Campfire, an early type of television. Soup can, a small food fortress.
Lab cockroach, this piece of dirt has legs.
Garden shovel, dirt spoon.
I don't want to
Baby bunny, cute, but I will not be fooled.
Oh, there's so many. It would take
There's
so long
many.
to spoil
Yeah,
all of them.
this is just a handful of them.
They're great. You have to spend time in the Trashopedia. It is so much fun, and the descriptions are brilliant and clever and funny. And
at the end of every level, you should just take the time to scroll through the Trashopedia, because it tells you what was entered, and you should just scroll through and read every single thing, because it's funny, and some of the descriptions are really clever.
they are.
Yeah, they absolutely are, and it is well worth going through. As we said, the gameplay loop, it's not that complex.
Right.
Each level will be, 2-3 minutes? Maybe 5 on a tough
maybe
one?
5 minutes, yeah.
Yeah, if you got a puzzle, it'll take a little while.
But it's not that complex.
No.
You will want to spend
zip
time.
through this whole game.
This is an escape game. And by escape game, I mean you're having a stressful day, the world's shitty, whatever. This is a game you use to escape and de-stress. Unless you hate
It's a
raccoons.
good thing to play right now.
I am really gonna hammer that point home. If you hate raccoons, do not play this game. But
Well, I
Yeah.
don't know. You get to pick on some raccoons at the end. Maybe someone that hates raccoons could enjoy that.
yeah, but it's still not like if you have a phobia of raccoons, this game isn't for you. Let's just be honest.
Yeah. If you don't get raccoon humor, then you're not gonna have a good time.
Yeah, it's designed to kind of let you turn your brain off, which is weird to say about a puzzle game.
Right. Yeah.
Now that I've said it, because in most puzzle games you're trying to like really think about it and get some brain power going, but this is not one of those games. Like, even if you fuck up, it's not going to be hard to fix it.
It's kind of almost to the point where when you encounter a puzzle, like I was playing the game, and again, it almost sounds like this wouldn't be a fun game to play. Please, please, please know that it is really fun. It's just in a very lighthearted and kind of silly sort of way. You're not going to get a lot of challenge from it. But when you do come across those moments where it is a little bit challenging, it's almost jarring because you've been like just cruising through the levels for so long that you're kind of like, wait, I actually have to think? Oh boy.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're like, oh, wait a minute.
I don't think I'm ready for this.
Yeah, I've just been enjoying the sweet comedy of it and just the weird little moments of satisfaction and the cool little story, and I just want to know what happens. It's a really relaxing game. So
It's a game about realizing that this raccoon is being a jerk.
yeah,
Yep.
raccoons are jerks, man.
Even the developers said it, like, this really was about raccoons being jerks and capitalism being destructive.
Yeah.
And to his credit, it is exactly that when you play it. It's a very lightweight game, and then like you realize, oh, I'm taking these people's livelihoods and throwing it into a giant ass cavern below this town, which kind of doesn't
Yep.
feel good at first. Then you stop caring and go to the next level.
Yeah, you're kind of like, oh, this level's so satisfying. Just everything can go down in the hole. Isn't that great? And then you go back to the story and you're like, oh, shit.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm
I'm a
being bad.
terrible person. Oh, no.
Okay, next level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's pretty much how I played it.
Also, going back to the capitalism narrative, and there's like very, very, very subtle, like, political things that go into this a little bit. Like, one of them is police hat. Gives you the ability to arrest someone for no reason.
Yeah.
Yes.
But that's in the flavor text.
It
Yeah.
is in the flavor text, so it's not one of those. I guess that's like probably the most extreme version of it. So if anyone is worried about the political idea of this, don't be.
Just,
That's as hardcore as it's ever going to get.
yeah.
So it's really I like this game so much.
Yeah, it's a very relaxing game about being a jerk to everybody. And it's somewhat satisfying too.
Yeah, being a jerk is fun. That's why I do it all the time.
If I could just swallow Rat Pouch in one of the donuts, I'd be so happy. Oh, Rat Pouch, you were such a jerk. You would be getting your just desserts by being swallowed by a donut. What are your guys's, like, do you guys have any other thoughts about it, or?
I mean, I thought it was a cute little game, and it was, satisfying little game loop, and it wasn't very long, and I think it doesn't overstay its welcome or anything. I think it's just the right length, and it was fun. And the puzzles weren't too hard. Like, my favorite kind of puzzle, the ones that aren't too hard and I can figure them out, which is always nice. I quite enjoyed it. It was fun. Like you said, it's a nice little escape game where you can just play it and not, think about things. Like with other games that I'm playing right now, they tend to have a pretty strong narrative element that you end up thinking about stuff and the world, even though you're like trying to escape it at the same time. But this one was nice. It was nice and simple and sweet, and yeah.
So, what did you guys think about the music?
I'm having to remember the music now.
I know, right? I'm like,
I know,
crap.
like, I can think of the first thing that comes to mind is the little victory cue song that plays, like, once like where the level ends and you see the person falling and they're like ah, and then it plays that little like victory music.
Yeah, it's like almost a rap beat.
Yeah, and it's and then it goes into the Trashpedia. That's oh okay.
Yeah.
Well, let me look up Donut County soundtrack. Because I know I have thoughts on it, I just don't remember what those thoughts are.
I mean, I'm playing it right now, but I turned the music off, obviously. So,
Well, if you're just recording the sound, you can have the music playing on a really low level.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
remember this. Yeah. This music's really good.
Yeah, it is really good music. That's why
yeah.
I wanted to mention it. I'm planning on mentioning the artwork too, but
Oh, the
the
artwork is
artwork,
incredible.
yeah.
so the artwork reminds me of the games that we used to play in the early 2000s on the computer lab computers instead of actually typing.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah. So, for context, for those that are listening, we all went to the same high school.
Mm-hmm.
And we had
Surprise.
huge surprise there. But we had a computer lab that someone was able to like get games on, and in one of my favorite games in the lab after getting all the computer lab stuff done was playing like this racing game with a really low poly motorcyclist. And as soon as I saw the artwork in Donut County, I was like, oh my god, this is the same style. Just super low poly, almost no texture to it. The shape makes the texture almost.
Yeah.
So it's like that really early Knots style of polygons and shading, but no texture. It's really distinct art style. I think it fits the light tone of the game very, very well.
Yeah. And the
I
colors
completely
as
agree.
well are really good, where you have the like kind of pastel and brighter colors that contrast with like the dark, cool colors down underneath the ground and the night,
Yes,
the night
yeah.
scene where you're fighting the Raccoon King.
And also, I think each level kind of has its own like palette of
Yeah.
color that just kind of adds a little bit of flavor. It's the way that it's all laid out is very intentional and in like a really pretty way. It's really cool.
And
Yeah.
it's all pastels and playful colors.
Yeah. It leads really well to the lighthearted nature of it.
Yeah, like not even the
Yeah.
hole itself is really menacing. It's not a dark black hole that you're throwing everything in. It's like a dark gray.
I mean, there's a bunch of people camping around a fire and like just chilling. So I mean, it's not even.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
The vibe is pretty chill.
yeah, but like even the
Yeah.
donut in the level isn't black. It's a gray or the color of a darker version of the colors in the scene itself.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's never really intimidating. Even the things that are kind of existentially terrifying aren't
Yeah.
intimidating in this game.
Yeah.
And I think
Right.
that's a very nice touch.
Yeah.
It's very unlike any other game I've honestly played. Yeah, I don't know. It's got its own kind of flavor to it. It's got elements of things I've seen in other games, obviously, but I've never seen anything combine like this. So it's pretty cool. If you're looking for a unique experience, I would definitely recommend it.
Absolutely. It is a very unique game in that regards. Let's talk about the music.
Okay, let's talk about the music. I love the music.
The music is fantastic.
It's so good. And it's got this sort of like I guess like hip hop rhythm to it, and to most of the
Yeah.
tracks, and I like that a lot. It
Actually,
works
I feel
really
like-
well with the scenes and with setting the mood.
Yeah.
Like if you go to YouTube or somewhere and listen to like I think the track is called Garbage Day. That's like the main theme / main song of the game.
Yeah.
And that'll give you a pretty good idea of what the music is like throughout the game, and it's pretty great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a very light, easy listing. Like even if you're not into hip hop, this is not offensive.
You'll enjoy it. No, it's great.
Like
It's great.
everything in the game, I hate to say it, but it's like easy.
Yeah. it kind of suits the. It's kind of like the art style in the regard that the music is kind of simple in the regard that it's not a complicated beat or anything, but it's just lighthearted, fun to listen to. It's like everything else in this whole game. This game is like purpose built to take your bad day and turn it into a nice day.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, that's actually a really good way to describe this game. Like, it's an escape game, lightweight. You know, we've gone we've gone over this, but I think I'm going to be playing a little bit of that after work tomorrow.
That sounds like a good plan.
Everyone stressed out about everything going on in the world, go play this game.
Yes. Yes, this is an important message. It might force this up to like the next one we release.
Right.
It's a very sweet game. There's not a whole lot to it. Like, even the interviews with Ben Esposito, I think. Esposito, yeah.
Yeah.
He kind of just points out that it's a light-hearted game about raccoons being jerks, and that's about it. Like, some people accuse this of not being a game. First and foremost, they're wrong. It does have a win and loss condition, and that's about all I ascribe to a game. So I stay pretty open-minded about games, and this one definitely qualifies.
Yeah. Just because it's a simple game doesn't make it not a game.
Yeah. It's not a walking simulator where there is no chance of failure.
Right.
And that's more of an experience than a game. But this is an actual game. I feel like I was going somewhere with that, but I completely got sidetracked.
Oh no.
Fuck it. Not important. I'm just going on with life.
Editor Chandler can remember the point and put it in there. This was the point I was trying to
Editor
make.
Chandler.
Editor Chandler's going to be so pissed at this.
Hi, Editor Chandler. Can you tell that we were like all of us at the end of our ropes?
A little bit.
Yeah.
This is coming from current Chandler, which just finished editing. But yeah, a little bit. Just a little bit.
A little bit.
Should we talk about just our impressions?
Sure, if you have anything else you want to talk about. My impressions are like, yeah, this is a sweet game.
Yeah,
it's good.
It was nice. Yeah, it was good. It's fun. Music's good.
Yes.
Artwork's good. Like the colors. The colors are great. Love the colors.
I'm pretty sure that when you get it on GOG, there's an option to get the soundtrack with it, and that is well worth it.
It's well worth it. Oh, also the characters. Some of the characters are great. Is it the possum? Is it the possum that's like conspiracy theorist hacker? Like,
oh yeah,
love that guy.
Yeah, right. Oh my god,
I love the possum. Oh my gosh.
I can't remember their names. There's like two hillbilly characters that are in like a campground or something like that.
Is that Salt and Pepper?
Yeah, they're fantastic. They were my favorite.
Then there's the alligator guy who's like, Mira, I can't believe you're still hanging out with that raccoon. She's like, well, he's my friend. Like, you're just being, like, discriminatory. And he's like, I don't know. I just ordered a donut, though. We'll see if they can make donuts. And she's like, wait, why would you do that? And then he gets swallowed up by the donut.
So that's kind of a funny thing. Like, they say ordering a donut, which seems so innocuous, but at the end of the day, this isn't a donut. It's a hole that you're ordering to swallow
up everything that you own.
Yeah.
So it's basically, it's false advertising. Like, there's so many, like...
Yeah, absolutely.
There's so much liability here. Like, it's just not good.
Yeah.
And I think this is actually modeled after, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's actually modeled after Hollywood, is what it looks like.
Sorry.
Because I'm looking at the level above Donut County, and it's got like a big like mountain with a tower at the top, and on the mountain it says raccoon in giant letters.
Yeah.
It's modeled after LA. Yeah.
Oh my god, internet. Why are you doing this to me? You guys are saying LA, right?
Yes, we're saying LA.
Okay.
I said Hollywood.
Well, that's in LA.
Well, it's
part of the greater
is it?
LA.
It's part of LA, yeah.
Hey, editor Chandler, delete my idiocy.
No,
I
it's
believe I
staying in there.
mentioned that it was based off of LA when I talked about the story, but maybe I didn't. I don't know.
It is definitely
I've
based
actually
off
never
of
been
LA.
there.
Yeah.
It has the iconic, like the climax, and I'll put that in quotes, of the story is based on like the observatory in LA, the the big white building on top of the mountain. That's an
Yeah.
actual landmark in LA.
Isn't that Griffith Park
Yes.
Observatory? Is that what it is?
Yes, it's based off
Okay.
of that. So this is definitely
That's cool.
commenting on LA in general.
Yeah, and I believe that
That's fair.
I think I read somewhere that like LA has like a lot of donut shops, and so that kind of went into the inspiration for it to be based off of LA. I read that somewhere, but
Yeah,
Could
no,
be
that was in
wrong,
an
but-
interview with Ben Esposito.
okay, so okay.
Yeah,
I
it's
I tried to read a little bit about this game, and it's there, but it's
yeah. So, actually, interestingly enough, now that you said that, the donut is definitely a reference to LA because donut shops are relatively easy, and they end up getting swallowed up and failing regularly,
Oh, interesting.
there you go.
which is also part of that capitalism
Yeah.
theme that so many people caught on in the game. So yeah, that's definitely an intentional part of it. Thank you for reminding me, Devin.
That's-
I completely forgot about that.
You're welcome.
Oh, editor.
That's actually kind of cool.
Pissed.
Oh, and we should also mention too, there is a point where you get to fly a drone in the game, very briefly.
Yeah, like
Um,
even at the end, like
it-
you can just fly that drone around just for funsies.
Yep.
And there's so many little Easter eggs to go and explore. This is definitely the kind of game that you play once and you really enjoy it and it feels good, and then you can just go back and play it again, and it does not stop feeling good. The storyline obviously is kind of over, but there's just lots of little nuggets. One thing that I will say that I don't think we've brought up yet is when you finish the game, or I guess even after you finish a level, you can also go back and replay any level in any order that you want. And you absolutely need to go and read the Trashopedia and pay attention to some of the little smaller details in the Trashopedia, because there are notes and various other little things that you're going to come across that are Easter eggs that you can go back into a level and replay it with that new knowledge and change the outcome of certain things, and find little nuggets of they're not like important to the story. It doesn't change anything as far as that goes. It's just, you know, something fun to go hunting for, a little Easter egg. So I strongly encourage you to do that. It absolutely adds to the replayability of the game. So
Yes, it absolutely does.
gives you something else to go and try and do. So
Yeah, it's very engaging because of that. Anyway, do you guys have any other thoughts on this?
go buy it.
Yeah.
Have fun.
It's,
Yeah.
yeah,
Buy it with the soundtrack. Listen to the soundtrack.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
Yeah.
this,
You're welcome.
the soundtrack is well worth it.
Every time you start feeling the feeling of dread, just go fire up your computer and play this game, and all will be right with the world again. Well, it won't be, but it'll feel like it is.
Yeah, it'll be a good distraction.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Yeah.
okay, well, unless you guys have anything else you wanted to add about Donut County, I think we should probably do some pluggables.
Okay.
Okay.
Tom?
Oh, I have to go first? Well, I didn't want to go first. I wasn't volunteering.
Fine. Devin, do you want to go first?
Well, you can find me on the interwebs on Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch at Lady Marowith. Come join me. I've been playing Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines on Twitch. It'll probably be done by the time this goes up, but I'm sure I'll be playing something else equally fun.
Absolutely. Okay, Tom, how about you?
Oh, I'm on the internet as well.
You know, somewhere on the internet never forgets.
I'm on Instagram under Tomakaze. That's Tomakze. I have things that are not even remotely video game related, mostly car and car audio and that kind of thing related. And I also have a YouTube channel under the same name, 2MAKZE, and those are also car related. So yeah, check them out if that's something that interests you.
Maybe you can find your
and
zen
of
in
course,
it.
my Zen.
Well, the listener, they can find their zen in watching your stuff.
Oh, I doubt it. My content's terrible.
Well, that's a resounding endorsement from the content creator.
Oh, I'm on Twitter too.
And with that resounding endorsement, and where
Yeah.
can our listeners find you, Chandler?
Well, they can find me on Twitter making bad programming dad jokes and ranting about whatever is crossing my mind at the time. I highly encouraging adding me about really stupid things because random things to laugh about are always fun.
Yes.
And you can may be able to find some games that I have been working on. I do post
Yes.
about those on Twitter with some regularity, so find them there.
At least your pluggables are vaguely related.
I don't know. I think that's somewhat of a stretch. Anyway, well, we have been the Adventure Mechanics. I'm Chandler,
I'm Devin.
And I'm a very distracted Tom.
and we will talk to you next time.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.